Welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, James Lauriello. Guys, I'm so excited to be joined today by co-host Robert Prosser to preview the 2025 Golden Trail World Series Final and Prologue. Super excited for this one. Hope you guys enjoy it. All good stuff there. Better late than never because the race starts in like 14 hours. Sorry, I was a little late on this one. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Golden Trail World Series Final 2025 with co-host Robert Prosser.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Robert Prosser, welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. How's it going, man?
It's going. It's been a long week, and this is a long time coming, but I'm definitely excited to talk about some Golden Trail finals today. So.
I know. Dude, I'm really sorry I pushed this. It literally starts we're like 12 to 13 hours before the start of the actual prologue, but the fans that are listening and will be listening tonight, they won't care. But yeah, I'm glad we were able to put this together, and it's been a hell of a week, both professionally for both of us and for just life. So I'm glad we were able to put this together and talk about the Golden Trail World Series Final that's finally here. Dude, I feel like it's been a crazy long season for Golden Trail. I mean, now starting in April and now we're in October, I almost feel like they maybe bit one out of Skyrunner's page in the sense where a little bit more races and just kind of more spread out amongst the calendar.
Definitely. I think it's a little bit of catch-22 because I do like that the Skyrunner has so many options and so many locales for them to race, but it also is a little bit disappointing because it does water down the competition sometimes. And so I do like that they're exposing new areas, having Japan in back-to-back years, China back-to-back years, 2 different locations. But I do think it makes the season a little bit long. And then I also think, if you schedule your season well, it can work out, but we'll kind of see some of these races won't be quite as competitive, or people will kind of pick and choose which races because they know they can get good points because they won't be quite as dense, I guess. So, but yeah, it definitely feels long. And I'm curious to see how people that raced early in the season will race this far out, 6-7 months out later. So
it is interesting with the final, and maybe this is a good through topic as well to kind of get into, is maybe I almost feel like it's condensed the competition. I feel like all we've talked about all season when it comes to Golden Trail, specifically on the men's side, has been Patrick Philemon and El Hussein. And then on the women's side, it seems like it's been Jolene, Joyce, Lauren Gregory here and there, when it comes to the Broken Arrow stuff, as well as Anna Gibson on the American side. But I think it's the kind of the through line and topic has been the consolidation of just talent at the top, and then everyone else kind of jockeying for spots. And, as we kind of go through, it's been, I don't know, it's interesting, but I would agree. I feel like this year specifically, I feel like Golden Trail, now granted I was not there, but did not feel as competitive as it has been in previous years. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think that on the men's side, it definitely feels it's those 3, and then it's everyone else is fighting for 4th through 10th. So I do feel like that probably has made it a little tough back-to-back years. I do think there's a little bit less likelihood that the favorite's quite as obvious on definitely, I think even the men's side, but definitely the women's side. I think the women's side is pretty up for grabs this year, yes. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But I do agree. I think in general competition and wondering who could win every race. And right now the men's race, it really only feels like 3 people can win it on any given race. Whereas the women's race, it does feel like there's a good range of people depending on the terrain. So I do think that's important that hopefully we see a little bit more competitive parity in the men's side, and we see some other guys break out, like a Christian Allen win or something, because there is a big difference between finishing like 4th through 10th in a Golden Trail and finishing in that top 3, but especially winning. I think there's kind of like a big breakthrough. Once you win one, then you kind of realize you can do it. And so people that got some of their first wins, like Lauren Gregory this year, it's a big notch of confidence if you can get a win in a Golden Trail series. So
totally agree. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, it would be really cool to see like a Christian Allen go and take a dub, right, at one of these. And I almost feel like he's got one in the chamber. Like, it's probably, he's got the talent to do it. It's just a matter of like everything coming together on the day. Would be cool to see him win a final. And like you said, like Lauren Gregory, I think that's I think having Lauren Gregory there would be, having her win one just wouldn't be a surprise. Sorry, I'm talking to you and my phone's ringing and distracting.
No, it's all good. Just scammers always are calling. So.
Yeah, dude, I've been blown up by scammers lately. I don't know what it is. Oh, what's 719 numbers? These damn Colorado Springs scammers. All right, back to the course. So kicking off on 10:10, we're actually tomorrow within several hours.
Yeah, Free Trail says 34 hours and 55 minutes.
There we go, to the final. But we have the prologue first, which is good.
That's true. Yes.
One thing I will say about this, for those of you interested in following along as far as the streaming goes, it's going to be streamed on Eurosport, HBO Max, TNT Sports, and Discovery Plus. Dude, how cool is that? Like, we're getting to watch trail running streamed on HBO Max and like Discovery Plus. Like,
yeah. Even for Sierras and All, I woke up this year and watched. It had already finished by the time we woke up here in the Springs, but I watched it on HBO Max, so that was pretty damn cool to like to be like going to a streaming service to watch a trail running race. So yeah, it is really exciting. I think it's a little less accessible, or like for the Eurosport people, it's a little tough. But like, yeah, having HBO Max and then watching it. It's pretty neat, and I'm definitely excited for what they're doing with it there. So
yeah. All right, let's talk about the course itself. Let's talk about the race. This one is interesting. The Ledro Sky Triento. So Ledro Sky Race is basically what it's kind of a part of, or kind of called. Mm-hmm. This is an interesting thread because it's advertised. The race itself is advertised, and we'll talk about the course and its technicality, because I think that's definitely worth something discussing.
Definitely.
But advertised as a sky race. I find that interesting, especially because Golden Trail races more or less are not really advertised to be super technical. They're much faster races on average when you're comparing them to something like a sky race or something more built as a sky race. Like, I know for a fact, like, this course is a bit more burly and technical than most of the other courses raced. Maybe this is, if we're going to draw a comparison, this might be closer to something like the Plitz Alpen Glacier Trail, something a bit more burly, technical, especially on the descents, a bit more technical and not super straightforward. Yeah, I don't know. It's different. Like, it's a beautiful area in northern Italy. Like, have you checked out any of that area in the research?
I have not. I did do Google Maps. So it's in Pieve de Lidro, which is southwest of Trento by 35 kilometers as the crow flies, and then northeast of Milan by 180 kilometers. I've been really wanting to go to the Dolomites. I still have not been, and is very high on my bucket list. We might even try to do it next year, maybe for a honeymoon, not sure. But yeah, dude, the Trentino, I was looking at a race out there. There's just so many cool, good trails. So I wasn't familiar with this specific area. That's why I did some research. But I do agree with everything you're saying about the course. It does look pretty technical. So.
One of the things that really stuck out to me that I thought was quite exciting when it comes to specifically the Prelude is the Preludes in previous iterations of the finals have been a bit flatter and a bit less technical, just a bit easier, if you will. Dude, this is a straight up mountain classic Prelude, like almost 5 miles, almost 2,000 feet of gain. So it's basically 4.42 miles, 1,795 feet of vertical. So it's 6.9K, 505 meters. Steep. It's technical. It's burly. It's not easy. Thank God for Remy LaRue. Big shout out to Remy LaRue, because he gave me some breakdowns of the course, and I'll quote him in a little bit. But like, his Strava has just been a godsend on some of the stuff that he's been scouting as far as just knowing the course.
Yeah.
And yeah, like his run through the Prelude, I was like, wow, it's easy. Like, we're gonna see super fast times, obviously, like probably 5 mid to low 5 minute grade adjusted paces for the men, and
definitely
probably 6 minute grade adjusted paces for the women. It's going to be interesting to see how like the descent gets taken, but anything that sticks out to you for the Prelude specifically?
Agree with everything. And yeah, I do like that it's been pretty steep. I think it's going to be pretty similar terrain. I mean, last year, they did it in Locarno, which is like, it's the Italian speaking part of Switzerland called Ticino is the region. And I think it'll be similar. And I did like, I mean, that one looked pretty epic. You know, we're getting into the fall, so it's getting more wet and kind of boggy. And I think this will honestly look similar to the Locarno one, where it's kind of steep up, steep down. I definitely will favor a lot of the more technically oriented. And I definitely think we'll talk about that when we're talking about previewing who could win or who could do well. That's definitely something to keep in mind, is who does well with some technical footing. So
For sure. And then the course itself, the actual course, the final course is going to be 13.04 miles, 5,249 feet. So billed as a sky course. I mean, that's pretty burly for 13 miles. I mean, like I said, I'd have to be there to see it myself as far as the technicality goes. But from the information that I'm getting, and I'll even read the text that, I think it was the text I sent you from Remy, because Remy was pretty good in describing kind of the whole breakdown. Here we go. All right, from Remy LaRue's words. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk of the course, a lot of comparison to sky running. The two main words are steep and technical, with emphasis on steep. Kind of similar, and this was cool because he kind of quoted it like as being similar to Northeast Trails, which obviously we all know to be steep and technical. He said they don't do switchbacks here. If the mountain goes straight up and down, the trail goes basically straight up and down. In terms of technicality, it isn't insanely technical, but because it's mixed with a lot of 30 to 40% grade, it feels very techy going down. Golden Trail World Series media team will definitely be strategically placed to film some epic falls, I'm guessing. So shout out to Remy LaRue for the course breakdown on both of the courses. And yeah, I think that's kind of just a thread of like what we kind of expected.
Yeah. And then there have been races. I think the course is slightly different, but this has been an existing race. And so some of the course record holders, actually people who are racing here this year. Cesare Maestri and Alice Gaggi have the course record on the men's and women's side. Men's course record was 146.22, and Alice Gaggi ran it in 213.03. I think the course is like a little bit different, but that's something to keep in mind. So they're familiar with the territory because they'll both be racing this final. And then some other names, Alberto Vender and Marco Filozzi have run it before, and so is Fabiola Conti, who also appears to be running the final this year. So, yeah, I mean, I think for some people to be familiar territory, and I do agree with the skyrunning analogies. It looks really cool. The website's good. It's really informative too. So.
Yeah. Dude, big shout out to Fabiola Conte. I feel like she doesn't get enough. Like, I know she kind of popped onto the scene. Maybe it was like 2022, 2023. I think she had a Salomon contract and then kind of like faded kind of back into, I don't know, maybe more local races and stuff like that. I know she's like well known for having done Series and all. I know every year she goes to the Mont Blanc Marathon and like kind of was on the international stage and like then kind of disappeared to it and then kind of popped back on the scene this year with Worlds and has had some like spectacular performances.
Yeah, when I did my long trail preview, I was actually feeling pretty bullish on her. Her three main results this year, she had like a top 5 and a top 3 at 2 technical sky races. I think Mont Zerbion was one, and I forget what the other one was. And then she had a win at another race. It was the Monte Rosa Valserweg, and it was like 120K, but it had like 8,300 meters of vert. So I was like, wow. Well, she's fast enough to do good at sky races, but also she's gutsy enough to like do good at these really verty, presumably really technical races. So I was like, well, she's fast and she can do a long race. And so I think I had her right around like 5th for my picks in the long trail. And yeah, she had a really good race. She ended up getting 3rd there. But we'll see, you know, that's a pretty quick bounce back. We'll definitely be talking about Worlds a lot and how that might affect some people. But yeah, I totally agree. It was really impressive to see what she did at the long trail. And she is a really versatile athlete. So, yeah, Italian, so home turf as well. So
one thing I want to talk about is invitations. So we know the top 30 men and women were invited to the final. This is interesting because I know Golden Trail Series is kind of funny that way. They don't exactly publish a list of exactly who's invited and who maybe turned down invites, who maybe didn't travel. Will people be filling those spots of the people that didn't go? I would say obviously. And then you got to factor in the fact of the National Golden Trail National Series, which I know is not happening in America this past year, but it did happen in other countries as well. There was some more national-based races. I know in Germany, Spain, other countries. So it's kind of a black box as far as like who outside of the top 30 as far as the invitations and how those went through. So we're kind of basing, at least I'm basing, you know, kind of this just off of the top 30 that's going to be on the Golden Trail Series site. The 30 that we know that we would guess would be in contention, if you will, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I was thinking the same thing. And I was also noticing like some noticeable absences, and some people I was like, I wonder if these people like Judith Weeder, other people that didn't race as much Golden Trail Series, but also could easily, podium here. We're still going to race. And no Judith this year,
and no Maud either. Not in the top.
Yeah,
30.
no Maud either. That's a good point. I wonder how she's bouncing back from Worlds. But yeah, I was kind of wondering the same thing. I was like, we have these names in the top 30, and then some people that are like 20 through 30 are really also have the capability to podium, but they only ran 1 or 2 Golden Trail Series races this year, so they just don't have a ton of points. But yeah, that will definitely be an interesting factor.
One thing I do want to definitely talk about, because a lot of our good chunk of our listener base obviously is on stateside. So the Americans, if you're wondering what Americans were invited and what Americans traveled, Lauren Gregory was invited to the final, Anna Gibson, Courtney Coppinger, Rachel Tomajczyk, Sarah Carter. Shout out to Sarah Carter, new Pikes Peak champion for the Pikes Peak Ascent. Kala Christopher Moody, and then can't forget Sydney Peterson, who had another banger of a season. And then on the men's side, only 3 men invited on the American side: Taylor Stack, Christian Allen, and Nicholas Turco. Very interesting. I am very bullish on Taylor Stack and Christian Allen. Very curious to see where they end up in this race. Taylor and Christian both having good Shaw performances at Worlds, specifically Christian getting 4th at the vertical. Taylor Stack has had an insane season when it comes to the Golden Trail Series, especially with the Series and all, and Plitz Alpen Glacier and Broken Arrow. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see where these guys and gals kind of match up in the mix, with a lot on the line for the final.
Yeah, I was trying to think in my recent memory. I've gone back and watched most of the Golden Trail has obviously lots of really good episodes. They're pretty good at documenting. So I went back to like 2019 and watched even a lot of those episodes, which are really good. That's when like even Killian would participate in some.
So good.
But I was trying to think of like, because Taylor's right on the edge. He's in 6th place overall on the point standing, and then Christian's 14th, but he could easily bump in the top 10, if not the top 5, with a good result this weekend. I was trying to think of like who have been the best Americans in the Golden Trail Series, and I really have like a hard time thinking of what at least American men. I know Sophia Lockley won in 2023. Canada. Yeah, maybe Sage Canada had some early results. Yeah. So I was just trying to think it'd be really cool to get, Taylor or Christian or both in that top 5. Because, obviously it seems like the top 3 are kind of in their own category right now. But if we could get one of those guys in the 4 or 5 position, and I think it's pretty likely. I mean, the points are more important in this final, so a lot of positions will change based off how well people do at the prologue and the final. So
it's kind of crazy to think. I mean, maybe the audience might lambast me for this if I do forget anybody besides Sage Candidate, but it's hard to remember anybody off of like recent years. Because I think of Sage Canada's 2nd place performance behind Killian, I think it was 2019 at the Pikes Peak Marathon.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. And that's when it was still, the marathon was on the Golden Trail Series.
Dakota's had great finishes. I'm trying to think of the Ascent. Eli Hemming, actually, he hasn't won.
Eli's probably the best one I can think of.
Yeah, and it was actually kind of a bummer for me. Like, I love Eli, and I know that like the situation that he's in now, like, racing more longer stuff, I think makes sense for him. But like, it would have been cool to see a few more seasons out of him on the Golden Trail Series, just because he's so good at the short stuff. Yeah, damn ultra people. But yeah, no, I think Eli makes sense in recent memory, Sage Canada, and I can't think of a lot of other American men that have like really performed at like the super, high end stages. So.
Yeah, we're kind of more ultra focused. That's definitely what's more incentivized. I feel like both contractually and. I don't know, just kind of like if you're running trails, people are like, oh, when are you going to do Leadville? When are you going to do Western? When are you going to do, this 100-mile race? So I definitely think we're starting to see the transition for that, but it's never, the sky running and sub ultra stuff it's more incentivized in Europe than it has been in the States. And now we're trying to change that. So that's what you're trying to change.
It's changing, dude. It's changing. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Let's kind of talk about, I think the overarching storyline here, especially for this, is just the amount of folks in the top 10 on both sides, men and women, that just recently competed at Worlds.
100%.
Only 2. So on the men's side, only El Hussein and Pierre Galbordin, French athlete. Only El Hussein and Pierre did not compete, and they're the only ones in the top 10 that were not at Worlds. And then on the women's side, Madalena Floria and then Rosa Laura Felive, Spanish athlete, were the only 2 that are of the top 10 that were also not at Worlds. So
even then, Rosa did compete, and she competed in probably the worst race to run before that. She got top 5 at the Long Trail.
Oh, so Rosa was in the race?
Yeah, she didn't race.
I must have missed
she
her
didn't race
last
a sub ultra, but they change. Sometimes they put her as Rosa Laura, and sometimes they put her as Rosa Maria, because I think her name's Rosa Maria Laura Filou.
Good catch. Good catch.
But yeah, she went top 5 in the long. So her and Fabiola are both going to be in the same boat, where I'm not quite as bullish on them as I would typically be for this final if they had not just done so well at the long trail.
All right, so scratch that then. We've got
So
literally
one,
just
then.
Madalena, El Hussein, and Pierre are the only three
Yep.
that have not just competed at Worlds. Is it a fact? I mean, obviously long trail is going to be a factor. We kind of saw that. But dude, short trail too. I mean, like, look at David Sinclair and Eli. Like, kind of very clearly had CCC in their legs that, when it came to compete. It's hard to say. Like, I wonder if, like, for instance, like Roberto De Lorenzi having the short trail in his legs, that could be a potential issue. But I think for the uphill and the mountain classic, I mean, you're going to recover so much faster.
Yeah, I think if anything, the uphill mountain classic, I'm more bullish on those people, and I think that's a great tune-up. The short trail, I am a little bit conservative with, and then the long trail, I'm extremely conservative with. But I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. I'm definitely curious how that will pan out, but I'm hesitant with anyone that raced Worlds short trail longer. So
I'm just going to throw out some names here, top 10 of the women ranking, unlike what they did at Worlds. So Sarah Alonso, silver medal in the short trail. Caroline Kimutai dropped short trail. Malin Osa dropped from the short trail. Joyce Naru was fourth in the women's mountain classic. Lauren Gregory, fifth in the women's mountain classic.
by 1 second between them two.
It was so close. What a race, dude. Phalaris, 14th in the vertical. Naomi Lang, bronze medal in the short trail. Anna Gibson, bronze in the vertical. And then I can't quite remember where she finished on the mountain classic. And then Rosa, like you said, was
I think
fifth.
she was fourth or fifth, in the long trail. One of the two.
Trail. And then on the men's side, Patrick was the bronze medal in the uphill. Philemon was the mountain classic champion. Michael Seali, Kenyan mountain classic team. Daniel Pattis competed on the short trail. Taylor Stack was on the mountain classic team. Roberto De Lorenzi was on the Swiss short trail team. How did you pronounce? I called him Cesar Mestri. How do you pronounce his name properly?
A lot of people say Caesar, but Martin on Golden Trail pronounces it Cesare, so that's the only reason why, because I feel like he is really good at his job and also is around those athletes a lot. So I've heard it Cesare, but I think it's like Caesar, but I think they just say it more that way. So to each their own. I don't know. That's just always the way I've heard him say it, and I trust his judgment the most. So
I say we take it for that then. So Cesare Mastrari, local to this area too, like you had said, and had won this race previously, held the record. He was on the Mountain Classic team, and then Dominic Raleigh competed in both the Mountain Classic and the Vertical. So these are all top 10 athletes ranked in the Golden Trail that are also competing this week. So and of that, interesting, 5 individual medals represented, including the Mountain Classic world champion Philemon, who I gotta say, dude, you made me eat my words. I did not think Philemon was going to be the Mountain Classic champ, and sure as shit he is.
I hadn't picked the win in my fantasy free trail. So yes, I don't know. He just had a lot of good up down races this year, and that's kind of been his bread and butter. So yeah.
What did you think about some of the notable drops, like Phalaris, Kasang, and Malin dropping the short trail? Is that more? I didn't read too deeply into either of those as far as injury goes, or if there was any issues there. Is that maybe just more being conservative, knowing there's more, I think, monetary situations on the line when it comes to Golden Trail for both of them being in the ranking, and just trying to be conservative for a race like the Golden Trail final? Like, I wonder what that would be.
Yeah, I think Malin, from my understanding or from what they said on SubHub, I think she caught cramps and then just decided to pull. Because, I mean, like we talked about on the preview, that short trail women's team was super deep. And, I mean, they still ended up getting the silver and just missing out on the gold, mainly because of Tove Alexanderson crushing everybody. Right. But so, yeah, I think it probably was kind of a little bit of bad day, and then also knowing that you had a really strong team. And then I don't know too much about Phalaris dropping. And then, I'm trying to think. Malin dropped. And then Caroline Kimutai, I think SubHub also said she just didn't even start. Her name was on the list. But there's some questions around her because Golden Trail wasn't putting her name out on their preview or for their top 10. And she is third overall in the points, for the series.
She might not be racing.
So so I have that's my biggest question mark with her, along with the technicality of the course.
I do want to correct myself really quick. I'd written down Phalaris, but she was 14th in the vertical.
Yeah,
I meant to say Caroline Kimutai.
Kimutai, yeah. Yeah, because I was gonna say I'm pretty sure Falairs ran,
Yeah.
and she hasn't had as good of a year as she's had in the past. She's had like some, I want to say some top threes at Sierras and all, and usually is really good in this up down type of format. And she's had good results this year, but just not to the level that she's had in the past. So
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. All right. So here's the big question. I have two. I mean, this is obviously more podium based, but the two big things I wrote down: will Philemon challenge Al Hussein? And will Sarah? I think even a bigger question is Sarah Alonso, now fully back from injury, clearly second place at Worlds, like had a great race herself. Is she like, can she challenge Madalena for the win? Like Madalena had a tough race in the last final. Has kind of folded on the big stages, but also has had she's number one in the ranking, has had like a substantially like amazing year. Can Sarah Alonso like topple her? Is that possible?
yeah, I think this type of course favors Sarah Alonso, and I also think that she does seem to be very back. But then I guess my main hesitation is going back to she did just race Worlds. That was 3 weeks ago. So trail marathon, I mean, a lot of these guys do that kind of turnaround, but I'm curious if that will beat out a fresh Madalena. And Madalena did have a rough go at last year's finals, but she also surprised all of us when she won both the finals in 2023. And she pretty much like single-handedly helped Sophia win her final, because Judith would have won that year if Madalena didn't win both the prologue and the final. Because she did beat Sophia in both the prologue and the final, but it wasn't enough points because she didn't get a win in either of the races. So, but I think Madalena will be fresh. I want to say she not only did she kind of get shook up at the final last year, I think she might have been coming in with mono or some kind of sickness. From what I hear, at least, don't quote me on that. But I think I will probably take a fresh Madalena over Sarah, even though I think this course favors Sarah a little bit. But I do agree that I think it's really up. And I honestly think Joyce could have a really good day out here and pump up a lot in the standings, because we've seen the double the points for the prologue and the final. So you really can have big moves. And I think really anyone that's in like the top 5 or 6 is within striking distance. And so for the women's points total, Joyce is still in 5th place. Mounds in 4th, but I could see Joyce having like at least 1 win, if not 2 wins here. So I think she's a legitimate contender for making a move. But I do think it could be Sarah's year. She's got her first Golden Trail win this year, was Zagama since 2022 or 2023, and then just has really raced super well and been super fit. She's fast too. I didn't realize how fast she was. She ran like a 1:11.5 this spring, and she just has been in really good shape all year. So
Where do you put Lauren Gregory and Anna Gibson in the mix?
I'm pretty bullish on Lauren. I got her in my top 5 and probably even my top 4. And I think both of them will be, yeah, I mean, right now looking at my free trail picks, I got Lauren in 5, Anna in 7, and that's contingent on Caroline racing. And if she doesn't, I'll probably move them both up to like 4 and 6. But I easily think that, one, Lauren's been getting more fit throughout the year. And I know she was kind of banged up a little bit. I think even coming into like Broken Arrow, she was kind of coming off an injury. And then the win at Tepic Trail was really good. I mean, it was kind of more like a Kobe race where selectively people raced and it wasn't quite as deep, but a win at Golden Trail Series is a win. So, I mean, that was really good and it really helps the confidence. And I think she'll come into this. She had really good results at the Worlds last year, right? She had a 2nd in one of the races and like a 5th in the other, or maybe a 2nd and a 3rd, but she raced really well at last year's final. So I feel like she'll be peaking at the right time and good fitness. And I was thinking Anna will too. We were talking about the men's American side. It'd be being impressive if we see 2 in the top 5, but I could very realistically see Lauren's in 6th overall right now and Anna's in 10th. I could see both of them in the top 5 by the end of the weekend. So
I think as far as top 10 goes as well, don't sleep on Courtney Coppinger.
Yeah,
that's someone I think has a golden opportunity.
Yeah, I think she's a very good downhiller, and I think she could do very well here. And she's just outside. I mean, the points difference between like 7th and her and 13th is only like 50 points, and we're talking out of like a maximum 600. So it's not a huge spread, but I think that she will likely move up and could very well move into the top 10. So yeah, I could definitely see three American runners in the final for the top 10 final. So
let's get into sleepers. My question for you is like, what do you think about like the locals, Alice Gaggy, who just got 19th in the Mountain Classic, and then Chisar Mastari? Where do you think kind of they get in the mix?
Yeah, I think they'll both have good days out here. I did have Alice Gaggy as a kind of like a dark horse pick, or somebody that you wouldn't expect to do or like that we just don't know as well, probably being in the US audience. So she's an Italian runner for Brooks. She did just race Worlds. She got 19th in the Classic. And then early in this year, she got a 6th at Golden Trail Series Noli or Golfo de Solo. I'll kind of use them interchangeably, and a 5th at Broken Arrow. So yeah, she's got speed. She's really skilled on technical terrain, and then she already knows this course too. And I think she'll be in pretty good shape. I mean, a 19th at Classic, I think that bodes pretty well for doing well here. And then Cesare, he started off the year really strong. 2 top 5s at Great Wall and GTS Noli, which both of those were pretty deep races. We saw the Kenyan crew come in for Noli for the Great Wall, and then we also had a Deep Canyon crew for Noli as well. Didn't have as good a race at Pete's Alpine Glacier. He was like 17th, and then 2nd at ETC and 11th at the Classic Distance and Worlds. But I think he's very well good to go for like 5 through 10 in this race, and he is speedy. He already knows the course, so I definitely think he'll do well. Other dark horses, had a few more on the men's side. I think Dominique Rolli on the Swiss athlete, he got 4th in the Classic. He was the only non-East African in the top 7 at the Classic for Worlds. So he ran really well. I think he is more of a specialist when that downhill comes in. He didn't do as well in the uphill. I think he was right around like 20th. But I think when you get those technical descents, he does really well. And he also smoked a really good Sierra Zinal this year, 7th place overall. I thought he was going to be, him or Joey Haydorn was going to be the top Swiss guy, but it turned out to be that triathlon guy that I didn't know about him. So he kind of came out of nowhere and ran the lead a lot. And then speaking of Joey Haydorn, he's also going to be racing.
That's what I had written down.
And I think he is also going to be a dark horse. And we see him kind of just pop off at these final events and do really well. He started off kind of like Cesare, started off the season real strong and had some good results. And that Great Wall race, he was right in the middle of the Kenyan pack and ended up going like he's 4th at Kobe and 3rd at Great Wall. So he was right in the mix with the Kenyan dudes. A lot of them came out hard and blew up. It was an interesting race to watch. And then he raced at Sierra Zinal, probably didn't do as good as he wanted to with a 37th. But he's been focusing on his orienteering season since then. I did kind of do a quick scroll through of his Instagram. I don't think it ended quite as well as he wanted it to, but I also don't know that's necessarily attributed to fitness because I know there's a lot of like navigation and other stuff, so I wasn't sure on that, but I definitely think he could go top 10. And then we do have a good mix of Kenyans, Paul Machoka, Samuel Kiprotich, and Michael Solelo. Paul Machoka and Michael Solelo I'd mostly focus on because they have some really good up-down results in world mountain running events. And the last one you did mention, Pierre Galborden. He's a speedy Brooks runner, French guy. I looked, he's got like a 103 half, so really, really fast. And he has had some good results. So I think he could sneak a top 10. He went 22nd in the Worlds at the trail and had multiple top 10s in Golden Trail this year, including 6th at Pete's Alpine, which is probably a similar course too, 10th at Noli and 8th at Great Wall. So it seems like he's a really good downhiller, from what I can tell. So
interesting. What do you think? All right. How does it play out for the points? How many points is the prologue worth, and are people going to be going balls to the wall, you think, for the prologue as well as the final? Like is there's strategy to this weekend, I feel like?
Yes, don't quote. I'm going off memory, but I know for the regular race the points get doubled and they take your 3 best points results, and so up to this point a win in a race was 200 points, so I'd imagine it's 400 for a win at the final. And then I don't know if the prologue is 100 for the win and it works down from there, I'm not sure, but I know that it gets really shaken up, and you really have to, you can't just like be like Elazine, have 3 wins, have perfect points. Like he still would only finish like 4th or 5th, so you really have to be coming into the final in good shape and race the final if you want to have a good chance. So I'm not exactly sure. I know it's double points at least for the full race, and then the prologue I'm not sure, maybe it's regular points or half points. So and I do think people will be blitzing it. I mean, last year it was just like a time trial, and I'm curious if they do the same, because last year I think they did that like staggered start where you don't all do it, but you have somebody like the interval start where it's like somebody goes and then 30 seconds and somebody goes. So that's kind of cool because you're like catching the people in front of you and seeing your lead. And I think they go in reverse order of points. So basically like Elazine would go last and he'd have the person in like Patrick in front of him and the film in front of him. So that's kind of cool because then you know if you caught your person, you went faster than them on the prologue. And at least you try to just keep the same gap, and then you know you're not losing time on them. I think that's how it goes. So at least that's how they did it last year. I don't know if they do it this year that way.
I would imagine it's probably very similar, if not the same exact format. What do you think? I don't know. I didn't write down. I picked picked top 5 for both.
Okay.
What do you think for the prologue, though? Like, do you think the winner of the prologue will be the winner of the overall?
Yeah, that's a good question. Last year was with Elozine on the men's side, and then the women's side, it wasn't the same because Joylene won the race, but she didn't race the prologue, and I can't remember who won the prologue.
Was it Sarah?
It might have been Joyce or somebody.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm kind of up in there. I think for the prologue, this men's race, I think Philemon has a legit chance. Him and Patrick are tied for points. I'm honestly probably between Philemon and Elozine. I'm a little bit more bullish on, I don't know, Elozine's fresh. Yeah, I mean, I think the men's side, it could be both win or Elozine wins the long race and Philemon wins the prologue. But on the women's side, I really think it could go back and forth. And I think that Madalena could win the race, but Sarah could win the prologue or flip it around. And I also think Joyce was going to race well here. So, but I'm not sure. It's kind of tough for me to tell. I do like that they do the prologue, but it's tough to pick for, and they're not doing it on Fantasy Free Trail like they did. I think last year they made picks for the prologue, and this year they're just doing it for the trail race. So,
what do you think this is a tough question to ask, but like with Jolene absent now or out of the mix, how does that shake up the women's field and change things like substantially?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes it more exciting, honestly. I think Joylene, I'd be a little bit more bullish on. Although, I don't know. Like, the Pizza Alpine, did Joylene... I don't remember if Joylene raced it. I know Caroline did, and she didn't do super well. I don't think Joylene did. She didn't. But Caroline did. Caroline Kamatai and a handful of other Kenyans, and they just didn't do great. I think it was partially because it was also rainy, and they didn't take good care to, like, thermoregulate. But I think it just makes the race more exciting because I really do think Madalena has a very good chance, and I think we could see her win. I think Sarah Alonso could win and win the overall final. And then I honestly think Joyce could bounce back and is within striking distance as well. But I think it'll be cool because I think we'll almost definitely have a new female winner for overall points, whether it's Madalena or Sarah Alonso, or, I mean, Alan Osa is also within striking distance. And I mean, honestly, like Lauren Gregory is as well. So
yeah, I feel like I'm very bullish right now. Lauren Gregory and Sarah Alonso. I think those are the two that have me like super excited. The men's race is like snoozeville. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, come on, man. Like, can we have someone other than Elhuzine, Patrick, and Philemon like step up? Come on, Christian. Like, where you at? Or Taylor, somebody. Yeah, let's get into. Is there anything you feel like storylines that we did not address?
Yeah, I put how close will the men's race like will it be another 1 second finish? That's what I'm curious about. And then female side, just more of what we talked about. I really think like the winners up for grabs. We'll almost definitely see a new winner, but I think Joyce has a very legitimate chance. And it would be sick to see Lauren Gregory too have another U.S. female winner like we have. But yeah, I don't have any other storylines other than what we've kind of mentioned so far.
One person I actually did not bring up was Naomi Lang, short trail bronze medal finisher. Obviously, you said you were kind of factoring in, and I feel the same way, factoring in like that short trail was a burly, nasty course. Like, how much of that is going to be in the legs? Because like I feel like this could be a great course for someone like Naomi. Yeah,
I do feel like, and people were kind of saying that they were kind of surprised by her short trail, or I heard some people mention that. But I mean, she won the
Blitz Alpen Glacier.
Yeah, she won Blitz Alpen Glacier, and then she also ran the Scalfell Sky Race, which was her like UK qualifier for the race, and that's like a really technical classic course, and she beat a lot of good women at that race and like beat them by a big margin too. But yeah, this is definitely kind of like her bread and butter, and I could see her, she's the 9th overall in the points, but like I said, basically 6th through 12th 13th are really tight, so there's going to be a lot of movement for depending on how many people do well, and I do think that she could honestly bounce back and do really well at this course. Yeah, Pete Alpine Glacier kind of surprised some people, but she also was coming off of, she got 3rd at Marathon de Mont Blanc this year, and that was still a super deep field, even though it wasn't Golden Trail World Series. And then I think, yeah, we kind of started to see her, at least I started to see her come across the radar. She got a 7th at the finals last year, and then this year she got signed to that Solomon International team contract. I think she's like a EMT or some kind of medical field worker, and she's starting to get more and more support to be able to come to these races. And then, 10th at Sierras and all this year and 3rd place at ETC. So I think the sloppier, she's praying for rain, she's playing for sloppy and more technical stuff, and the more she'll have an advantage compared to Yeah, maybe Madalena wants a little bit more runnable. And then I think Sarah Alonso is also, Namie and Sarah are probably two of the best downhillers. And Malin's up there too as well. So yeah, I think this course will suit well.
One thing I did want to sneak in there for like sleeper, I gotta say, like, dude, I gotta give like, I feel like this is, I feel like the prologue, sorry, is more Remy LaRue's course. It's hard to say. Like, I think he's one of the best. Like, I mean, he showed it obviously like last week at the Mountain Classic, of one of the better Mountain Classic athletes in the world. This course might be a little long for him, but like, dude is nasty. So I want to put him on the group of sleepers. I was gonna say for sleepers as well, but it's hard to like. You can't really throw Daniel Pattison as a sleeper, but also race short trail. Also, it's curious to see like where that kind of lines up as well.
Yeah, I think Daniel Pattison as well. And props to you. I know I texted you, but with the Canada pick, female uphill got the bronze.
Yeah.
And yeah, Canada has some really, really good runners. And then Daniel Pattison. Yes, sorry, I was thinking Daniel Pattison, Italian Brooks athlete. He's really good short trail specialist. He did just race that short trail race, 15th for Team Italy, and having a good season. He's really versatile. I mean, he can do good on fast courses. He can do good on technical courses. So I do think he'll do well here. I do think he's a strong pick for the top 10. I don't know. I think maybe just because I expected him. I think I had him in my top 10 for World Short Trail, and I thought he'd be a little bit higher. So I'm curious to see how he bounces back. But we haven't seen him race a ton of Golden Trail stuff recently. I think maybe Sierra Zanal was his last race, but I'm sure he was focusing on Worlds for the Italian team. And they were doing things like they got to scout out the course and do some runs on it. But I think he could definitely do well here. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up his...
There you go. I have a
Golden
tangent to
Trail.
go off of when you're ready.
He got 3rd at Zagama, 7th at Great Wall, and 6th at Kobe. So yeah, he did have a lot of early season, and so we haven't really seen him since Zagama on a Golden Trail race. But he can do both fast and technical races, and I do think this suits him well. So
Super talented guy. I have a question on Worlds. I was just thinking about this and kind of reflecting. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent for it before we pick podiums. But like that course was so Skyrunner like
friendly.
centric. Like I don't know, just like looking back, like I would have never in a million years. And this is no disparagement against like Frederick Trenchard, but like never in a million. Like for instance, like Sarah Alonso, like definitely had on my podium. Like that made sense. And like if I would have gone back and like really looked into it, like Tovey Alexanderson makes sense. But like I would have never picked in a million years Fred Trenchard to be the. Like, yeah, I would have maybe picked like Manu Morales over him and stuff like that. So my thought to you, and like I said, no disparagement against any of the athletes because they're all amazing. But like, do you think the courses for this particular World Championships truly picked the world champion, or was it just the best guy on the day for this?
I thought it was cool. I mean, so I think as a partial answer to your question, when Iron Farr interviewed Katie Scheid, they talked about that and kind of how like the whoever selected the world's, like the committee that selected the world's course kind of gave a nod to like different types of trail running versus just like, you know, buttery California single track, whatever, where it's just kind of like time trialing and whoever's the fastest. But they actually picked like a legit, more or less a sky running course and something that really kind of shows the diversity. And they were kind of saying that might even be like a nod to, because there's a lot of talk about trail running going to the Olympics. And so, but obviously we need a format that's super televisable. And I mean, that was a pretty good mix of like, it was super technical, but also the coverage on the short and long trail was amazing. Like I would make that my background screensaver for my laptop, for my phone. And it just made me want to go to the Pyrenees even more, which I guess, I mean, I did last year, but now I want to go back again. I was in a different part. And, but yeah, I mean, I do agree. Yeah, I don't know. I was actually really happy they picked a really technical course.
No, I'm not upset about it. It's just a question I pose just as someone that covers it. I'm like, it had me thinking, like, I don't know, like for instance, like Jim and Katie like didn't surprise me at all. But like I think the men's short trail out of everything surprised me more than anything else.
Yeah, I do agree. I think especially for this like US audience, like I know Fred Trenchard because he's a really good sky runner and I like sky running races, and he also does good in Golden Trail stuff when he does that, and he kind of has the versatility. But it's interesting because I definitely had him in my top 10, but he was in that 5 through 10, and I figured his ceiling was like probably 5th or 4th, because even in the sky running and other stuff he does, we'll see him get 2nd through 4th, but it's kind of another level to be able to like win these races, and he'll always be on the podium, but he won't usually win. So I was pretty impressed by his win, but I also think it's just a testament to like how focused the French team is on targeting Worlds, and we see that with guys like Benjamin Rubal and other guys. I was also pretty bullish on the long trail who finished second with him, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but they just like come to play, and they kind of like get a boost as soon as they put that first French jersey on. And so, I was surprised that he won, but I definitely had him for a top 10, and I thought he could go top 5. And I wasn't as surprised. Like, I thought Manu was going to do very well there. I had him in my top 5. Andrew Blanes, I had him in my top 5 as well. But yeah, it's a good question. I was really happy. I thought that short trail was really awesome, and it was really impressive to see Fred race to that level. I was really happy that Manu did well. You know, I'm a
giant Manu fan.
I'm a big fangirl over him, so I was really excited to see him kind of bounce back and peak at the right time. And then I think that, and I'm even like pulling up, where is the short trail? We'll go short trail man, and just looking at these kind of individual names. Let me get rid of teams. Yeah, Fred, Manu, Andrew Blanes, Alain Santamaria Blanco. I was honestly really impressed and surprised. I know he's really good on speedy courses, but I wasn't expecting him to do that good on a technical course. I mean, Spain went 2 through 4. That's nuts. Marcin Kubica, Polish athlete in 5th. I didn't realize that. Luca Del Pero, I was expecting him to be out there.
Yep.
Martin Nielsen, Davide Magnini, Sylvain Cachard, and Lorenzo Rodomartier. Yeah, that was all kind of like people that I could see there, but it was pretty impressive. And also, I guess shout out to Noah Williams too, being top American. Like,
let's go, Noah.
As I look at the list, I was really impressed by that, and that was pretty damn cool to see as well. So, but yeah, I don't know if that totally answered your question, but
no, you did. I appreciate it. I like getting perspectives. One quick question before we go to podiums. Did you won? How many things did you win for overall for free trial? Did you get them all?
No, I didn't win. I won the uphill, and then I got a 2nd and a 6th or something like that. But I'll also have to shout out, like, there was here. Let's see events. Another dude who I think even did better than me, and I was talking to him, Julian Lacoste, and me and him are up there on the overall leaderboard. I think we're in like 2nd and 3rd right now. We just bumped Travis Longcar. He's the creator of Free Trail, and he's very good at Free Trail. He just kind of behind the scenes, but it ended up going super well. Let me see dashboard. I think I had like a 1 in the uphill. I think I got.
What do you get for this?
20.
Do they give you
I don't.
no?
Some stuff. Sometimes
Bowman,
they do
send
stuff,
him
sometimes they don't. I got 6th in the long trail, and then the short trail, I was like 25th or something like that. But Julian Lacoste, I think he won one, and then I think he had a 2nd and an 8th. So he did even better than me, and we're 2nd and 3rd overall. He was texting me some of his picks, and he actually organized. He's the race director, from my understanding, for the Canadian Championships this upcoming weekend.
I'm friends with Julian.
Yeah.
Okay, we just only talk on social media, but like I had no idea.
No, he was saying he was trying to
Julian
get you
Lacoste.
to come out to his race and stuff. And so
Yeah.
it's funny, he messaged me, and I was like, dude, your name looks so familiar. And then he sent me the leaderboard for Fantasy Free Trail, and he was 1 spot above me, and I was like, that's why your name's
I gotta
so
give him
familiar.
some love.
So-
He's amazing with what he does. I want to pronounce his race correctly, but like,
Oh, dude, yeah, I'm not.
DeFi, Day, Colors. I'm sorry. My French is garbage. But
And I feel
like,
bad if I'm even pronouncing his name wrong. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I'm sorry, Julian, if I butchered your last name.
He's
but
an amazing human. Like, I got to give him, and he's so kind. Like, yeah, I got to go support his race one of these days. I'll probably cover it, actually. Like, maybe I'll do some coverage that way we get some.
he invited me to come out this year, and I was like, dude, I don't think I can swing it. There's a lot of stuff I'm at work, but I was like, I definitely want to race your race next year, because I always am looking for something like third week October, where it's like I still have some fitness, but there's not really much trail stuff going on out west. And
Dude, Vertical
and so-
Mountain Classic. Like,
I know.
It's amazing.
And he has awesome feedback too. I was texting him after our last podcast came out. He messaged me and kind of reached out, and that's when I asked him, like, why do I know your name? And then we were texting back and forth about like our picks for Worlds as it was happening. And then, like I said, I mean, he even did better than me. I think he had 3 top 10s and a win, and I only had 2. And yeah, we just it was cool. I really liked to see when he was messaging me his thinking about like why certain people are going to do well. I think he might have me beat, honestly. Like, I like doing this stuff, but he might even have me beat. So
Wow. So he's a brain. Okay.
I know, he's a brain
this.
dude. So
Dude, I got to have both of you on the podcast.
that's what I said.
That's what
I
gotta-
dude, I told him, I was like, I'll talk to James, and we'll
do
get
it.
it, because I think his takes are even better than mine. So
the collective brain trust. This is amazing. All right, let's pick podiums. I'm going to let you go ahead. Start with the women.
All right, for the women's side, we want to go 5 deep.
Let's go 5 deep. Yeah.
All right, let me go events and okay, Sky Final. All right, on the women's side, I'll start with 5. I've got Lauren Gregory in 5th place, but I really think she could podium at one or both of the events. And it'd be really sick to see her win. I mean, she did win the Mexico race. Right now, I've got her 5th. I think she will move up, and I think we will have at least 2, if not 3 women in the top 10. And I think Lauren will probably end her points total in the top 3 overall. 4th, I've got Caroline Kimutai, but that's a big question mark, and I'm kind of waiting to see if she is racing or isn't racing. Hesitant on 2 fronts. One, because she didn't race Worlds, so what was the issue there, or what might have happened? And
Was
then
she a DNS or a DNF?
DNS is my understanding.
Okay.
That's what they said on SubHub, and I also think I didn't see her name in any of the finishing results, and I think that DNF's in there too. I tried to search, so I don't think she started at all. And then my other hesitation too is what we talked about, Pizza Alpine Glacier. I don't think she's like the most technically savvy, or I don't know, maybe I just haven't seen it yet. So I'm a little bit hesitant with this course. But she is definitely, probably the breakout runner of the year, and it kind of stinks with the Joy Lean stuff, because I think that'll kind of get overshadowed. But I mean, yeah, she won Kenya's like trail championships over Joy Lean even early this year. And then she kind of woke everyone up when she won Golden Trail Series Great Wall over Joy Lean. And then she got some of that Pizza Alpine. And then technically I went at Sierra Zenal now that Joyce is out. So 4th with a big question mark. If I had to sub somebody, like if Caroline's not racing, then I'd probably have either Naomi Lang or Anna Gibson in there. So, or like it moved up in the top 5. All right. For podium. So 3rd place, I've got Sara Alonso. I really want her to win, and I really think she can win, but I'm just a little hesitant with how well she did at short trail. And I mean, it's just like, that's such a good performance. And I'm just kind of questioning how sharp and like how good your legs will feel after that. And then I've got Joyce Najeru in 2nd. I think she'll race really well here. I think her, 4th or 5th, she was just in front of Anna Gibson, whatever it was, or just in front of Lauren Gregory. So 4th at the up-down at Worlds really bodes well. And I think she's kind of been a little bit up and down this year, but she definitely still has potential to win races. And I think this race kind of suits her. And then I got Madalena with the win. And I think Madalena, she'll be poised well to be the new champion. I think she got burnt out a little bit coming into the final last year because she raced a really long season. This year she did race a long season, but she has taken a pretty good hiatus coming into this race. So I think she will be sharp, and I think that's important. So
I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Madalena win. Like that makes sense. Obviously, number 1 in the rankings right now. Obviously sharp. So all right, I'll take it away. This one's tough. So for 5th, I have Anna Gibson / Naomi Lang. I don't know.
Okay.
Like, it's got to be one of those two for me. In 4th, if she races, Caroline Kimutai, so we're tied on that.
Okay.
In 3rd, I have Lauren Gregory.
Nice. 2nd,
Madalena Floria. And 1st, I'm going to go Sarah Alonso.
Nice.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where, yeah, it's very possible. I mean, this kind of goes against my rhetoric and what I said earlier with having, like short trail still in your legs. But I feel like Sarah Alonso versus, I feel like Madalena Floria is the better marathoner, if that makes sense. The better flat runner, better turnover. Sarah Alonso, I feel like, is better on technical terrain. So I think it might come down to some matchups on like some of the more technical descents.
Yeah.
Sarah Alonso's kind of showed her chops in previous iterations of these races, whether it be, I just feel like as a Spanish runner and as more of a sky runner, I feel like Sarah might have the edge on a course like this. I think it really comes down to, too, is how technical is this course? Like, everybody says burly, technical, yada, yada, yada. I've actually, like I said, very limited photos, very limited videos of this of like kind of like shown up. So I think a lot of it comes down to like the true technicality of it. If it's burly, as people say, I don't know, maybe that gives the edge to Sarah, who is, I think, like more technically inclined than someone like Madalena. But Madalena is fresher. So, and especially like if she has a bigger block of fitness underneath of her, could be, I don't know. It's going to be a tough race. It's going to be fun to follow.
Yeah, I totally agree. And backing up your Sarah point, yeah, I mean, Zagama win. She got the win at Kobe this year, which everyone said was like a super Rudy technical downhill. She's got a win at Calamara Sky Race last year. She is super technically savvy, so I totally agree that she would have the edge if the course plays that big of a factor. So
we will see. Yeah, if it's more runnable, I'll give the edge to Madalena. If it's less runnable and more techy, I'd give the edge to Sarah. All right, let's go for the men. I'll let you take it away on your men's picks.
Men's side, I'm thinking, well, this is kind of boring, right? Because everyone's going to have the same top three, but just some different iteration of them.
Newsville.
Yeah, I guess shocker alert. I do have a lot of Kenyans in my top 10, but if we're going from the top 5, I'll have Cesare Maestri in 5th. I think that he could very well have another top 5. I think that he came in with some really good early season fitness, and then he kind of had some mediocre middle results, but I think his second at ATC and his 11th at the Classic and Worlds and his course familiarity, I think it poses him well for like a 4 through 8 range.
What did Cheshire get at Pitsalpin Glacier? I'm just curious.
17th place. So
Okay.
it wasn't his best day.
Yeah.
But I think the conditions got to a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty wet, rainy, cold. And I also think I think a lot of people got hosed. You had to come out hard because otherwise you got hosed on the single track. And I think even Remy LaRue's right up, I think I read it on his Strava. I think he talked about just like how if you were not in good position on that climb, you really couldn't make up spots because it was such narrow single track. So it was one of those ones kind of not too dissimilar to even doing like the uphill. Like you had to kind of make a cross country style break for it and then be in a good position because you just really couldn't make up a ton of time on how narrow those trails were. So I think, Taylor had a ton of speed coming out and made his position well, but I think anyone that didn't kind of got hosed and then just got discouraged. So 4th place, I got Paul Machoka, the Kenyan athlete. He is, one second, I'm pulling up. What is he coming off of? Fresh out of bronze medal at the Mountain Classic. He doesn't miss when he races, and he has a lot of really good world mountain running event results. So he got a 5th at Sierras and all this year, 3rd at Golden Trail Series Noli. So 2 top 5s in his GTS races. And I think he'll move up a lot in the final point standing after this weekend. And then now the question is just what order of the top 3. I guess I'm probably going to go, I think it's between Elzine and Philemon, and I think Philemon has a chance to win, but I just like that Elzine is fresh, but also Philemon, I don't think the Classic is a detriment. I think honestly Patrick's going to be the one that's out of the mix here, and so I'll go Patrick 3rd, Philemon 2nd, and I'll go Elzine with a repeat win, but I don't know. I literally just swapped Patrick from 2nd to 3rd, and I'll probably flip all 3 of those around at some point. And
Question on that: are we biased because Patrick got 3rd in the vertical and
so then we're just putting the same?
Philemon won the Classic?
There's definitely recency bias for sure. And now that you say that, I'm even like, I think Patrick's a little bit better on technical stuff. But yeah, there's some recency bias. But I also think Philemon's got like kind of a next level. We talked about last time how he had almost 10 second places his last year, but we're finally seeing him win a lot of races. And I'm curious too. I think it's boosting his confidence, but it's also interesting because he's winning more WMRA stuff. But Patrick strategically has not raced WMRA because his focus was Golden Trail Series this year, from what I understand. So I wonder if that's almost like giving Philemon a leg up just because he's getting confidence in winning these races that Patrick was winning last year, and now he's kind of bringing that in Golden Trail. But I do like that Elzine's fresh, and I think this course really does suit him. But we did see he did lose. He got into kind of like a last season finish at Noli. I think there was some bobbing and weaving because there was a bunch of sharp turns at the end of the course and some people went off and that cost some people. But I think Philemon out strategized him at Noli because Philemon did get the win there and out kicked him. So we've seen that Philemon's getting a little bit smarter strategically. It's just crazy that Elzine can just sit on Patrick and Philemon's tail and
really what he does.
Basically decide teach their own. If you're fit enough to do that, then just sit and kick, basically. But it's kind of crazy that he can just sit, climb with Patrick, who's one of the best climbers in the world, Philemon, who's the best up down in the world, and then he's just like, all right, cool, I'll take off here on the downhill and beat everyone. That's kind of nuts. So I like Elzine's chances.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, I'm gonna go 5th. I'm going Taylor Stack in 5th.
I got him in my top 10 for sure.
Yeah, I think he's. I think there's a strong possibility we have 2 Americans in the top 10. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Christian Allen in the mix as well. But I just think I don't know. Maybe this is recency bias as well. But looking at Taylor's Pitsalpin Glacier, maybe I'm paying way too much attention to that result. But I think his ability to mix it up on more of the technical stuff and just be kind of there, would not be surprised to see him in the top 5. So I'm going to go him 5th.
Cool.
I'm going to go Michael Saoli, Kenyan, in 4th.
I got him in 6th. So yeah.
Patrick, I'm going to go Patrick in 3rd. Philemon 2nd. El Hussein 1st.
So
God damn it, I
boring.
really hope Philemon or Patrick wins, but and that's just me. I just want to see a new champion, somebody different, but I wouldn't be surprised to see El Hussein take the dub, and good on him,
Yeah, to each their own. And I definitely agree. I think historically I'd pick Patrick over Philemon, but I think Philemon's on a different level this year. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think Dominique Rollet is going to do well too.
Yes, yeah.
Swiss athlete, and then
Joey Hedron. I mean, that's another one we kind of like talked about as a sleeper. Wouldn't be
He's
at all
such a good
surprised to
downhiller.
see, like, definitely top 10. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in the top 5. It's totally possible. I don't think we've seen how good he is yet. I mean, like we talked about, like he's had great results at like Kobe and races like that were a little less competitive. But wouldn't be at all surprised to see him kind of in the mix.
yeah, but when he did the China race, he was up there with all the Kenyan guys and right in the middle of them. He was kind of like Taylor Stack was in Pete's Alpine.
Yeah.
And then last one I think worth mentioning, but on the men's side, I think Marie Neve actually boats pretty well here, and I think she'll probably be somewhere in the top 10 French athlete. She just got 11th in the Classic at Worlds, and she's a really good up down and had a 7th at Great Wall in Noli, and then a 6th at Broken Arrow. So I think she'll probably run pretty smart here. So
Dude, this is a big weekend for our sport too. I mean, outside of Golden Trail, we've got the Moreline Skyline and Sky Race happening in Ireland. That's going to be pretty competitive. North American Continental Skyrunning Championship is going to be happening in Mexico, and also Kodiak's happening this weekend, which I was a little surprised to see some of the names on the Kodiak list. I was like, why is Eli running another 100K?
it feels like a lot of people, and actually it looks like they just added Kodiak 50K to the Fantasy Free Trail Picks. But yeah, I agree. It feels like a lot of people are kind of putting like Kodiak as like oh crap, I can get it early, or like I can get a free UTMB qualifier.
Is the
weekend.
100K a golden ticket race?
No, it's not a golden ticket. No, it's not. But it's the UTMB Trail Major, so that means you can go top 10 and automatically get a qualifier, because it's basically what Canyons used to be. So if you go top 10 at any Kodiak events, it qualifies you for the UTMB equivalent, and I think usually they let you go one way or the other. So 50K, if you go top 10, you'll qualify for OCC. 100K, if you go top 10, you'll qualify for CCC, and then the whatever 100 mile or whatever the longest one is will qualify you for UTMB. And usually they'll let you go kind of like one way up or one way down, but just not all the way. Like I don't think you can do the 50K and then get into UTMB. But yeah, so that makes it pretty deep. And for these elites that are kind of just like, oh, I don't want to have to race a competitive qualifier or go top 3 at UTMB, it's kind of like, oh, well, they know they have a spot at UTMB next year. But a lot of people, I'm kind of like, do you really need to be racing this? Because I'm like, it's kind of like a fire sale. And I'm curious if like it'll end up in either blow-ups or injuries, or just like, it's kind of like, I don't know.
I want to give a shout out to Michelino, who's going to be throwing down at the 100K. Hope he wins it.
Yeah, there's some good. I think we got like Hayden Hawks out there, 50K, Caleb Olson, Andrew Blanes, who just got 3rd in the world in the short trail.
All right, so with Hayden, like I mean, he's been training, but at the same time, this is a complete tangent, but like training, but like hasn't been at home base, hasn't been throwing down like a normal block. Like he's been kind of traveling all over the world, like chilling with the fam, doing his thing. Like, is he just jumping in it for the sake of jumping in it, or is he serious about it? Like,
I think he's serious. I think a lot of people that had like disappointing, like Caleb Olson had disappointing worlds because he banged up his knee, so he's going with the 50K. Hayden, I don't know. Hayden he's actually not home a lot. Like he lives like in New Zealand for a lot of time in the winter time. He'll just go out there for 3 or 4 months, maybe not 3 or 4, 2 to 3 months, 1 to 2 months, and he'll just train with Jan Jones, and then he'll be in Europe for most of the summer. So he bounces around a good bit, even though he is a Utah boy or whatever. But yeah, I mean, this 50K start list, Caleb Olson, Andre Blanes, Alex Garcia Carrillo, Cole Watson's coming back from injury.
Oh, wow.
Brian Whitfield coming fresh off the Pikes Peak.
Brian's in the relay? I got to text him. Holy
Anthony
shit.
Costalas, hopefully healthy, and he's a 2 low teens marathoner. Cade Michael, super speedy. Mackay Clemens, super speedy. And then sleeper pick wise, Eric Lagerstrom, try guy who went top 5 at Black Canyon 50K. Female side, Sarah Beal, Julia Font Gomez. So that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Some sky runners. Tabor Hemmings racing if Eli is, and then Claire DeVoe, Jane Moss. So that'd be cool. Lindsay Allison and Hillary Allen. So actually we have a lot of Worlds people on here that are going to come try to get their UTMB stones.
Yeah,
and
I'm
get
sure
an automatic
Jane wants to go
qualifier.
race OCC next year. That makes sense.
She killed it. Really cool to see her top American. So, yeah, I do agree. But it does feel kind of like a haphazard fire sale. It's like, oh crap, I got to get a UTMB qualifier, and oh, Kodiak's there. And I looked at doing it. It sold out like pretty quickly. And originally I was going to do the UTMB Mexico race this
Puerto
last
Vallarta
weekend
or whatever. Yeah.
No, they changed it from Puerto Vallarta to Chihuahua. So they do it in the Copper Canyon now.
Okay.
And it did look really epic, and I did really like the idea of it, but it just ended up being it's tough to get there logistically. So you have to fly in Chihuahua, and then it's like 4 hours by train or bus. Basically, it was going to be like 2 days of travel, day and a half travel. And then the race was on Friday too. So it was tough. I wanted to do it, but it just seemed like too much of a stretch. And so I did Perpetua Coast, but Perpetua Coast was like,
Oh yeah, forgot to ask
people-
you about that.
a lot of people say it's the most beautiful race they've ever done. And I can see why. And it was absolutely gorgeous. So I've never been to the Oregon coast, and the Oregon coast is like out of this world.
Pretty
epic.
legit, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously like, we grew up in Florida, there's beaches, whatever. They're cool. They're nice. You get sunshine, but the coast on Oregon is like, the waves are huge and the rocks are huge and the trees are super green and everything's just like kind of magical feeling. It looks like there's going to be some like fairies coming out or something. So
Dinosaurs or something.
dude, dinosaurs for sure. I was expecting dinosaurs to walk out, or some Jurassic Park. But it was really cool. And I'd never been to that part of, I've been to Oregon, but I've never been to the coast. And so just doing a road trip down from Portland to, it's in Yachats. It looks like yachts with a before the T, but it's Yachats is how they say it. And that was really cool. And then we also like stumbled upon a aerospace museum that's randomly like an hour southwest of Portland, and it has the Spruce Goose, which is like the biggest plane ever created. So that was pretty cool.
That's dope.
This wealthy guy just wanted to basically create his own sick aerospace museum rather than spending a bunch of money on useless random stuff. And so he made a really sick aerospace museum like an hour out southwest of Portland. So it was kind of cool.
Did you ever go to the one in DC?
Yeah,
Sick.
I've been to Dulles. I've been to Dulles, and I've been to Pensacola's one, and then I've also been to Davis Monthan as well, between like military and school and stuff like that. And honestly, this one probably gave all three of those a run for their money. Like they had a really impressive collection. They had awesome volunteers. All the dudes that were volunteers were like, "Oh, I'm an F4 pilot. Oh, I'm this pilot." Like they're all just like badass dudes that wanted to do something with their retirement. And this Spruce Goose is like, that's Howard Hughes, the movie The Aviator with Leonardo DiCaprio. He plays Howard Hughes, and he was kind of like this. Basically, people say Stan Lee says that he modeled Iron Man, Tony Stark, off of Howard Hughes. He's kind of like this neurotic,
Makes sense.
like multimillionaire kind of playboy, but he made his own planes, tested his own planes, did all this stuff. And the Spruce Goose is like the biggest plane ever created, and it was epic. So yeah,
Dude, I'd love to hear it.
digress. So
It's good to get out of Colorado a little bit, see other things, you know? I'm looking for something like competitive early season. Like I might go to Big Alta, or I might go to Gorge Waterfall and run the 30K, or do like the 28K at Alta. One of the two.
Definitely, I'll probably do the 28K at Big Alta, but I definitely want to go Big Alta weekend. I'm already about to start texting people. And there'll be another option, a longer race on top of that too, but I think I'll use that potentially as marathon tune-up, but I might do the 50K too. The course it's gorgeous, and it's a really awesome race. Daybreak in general is just a really awesome race company. So
Yeah, make great stuff.
Dylan did a good job partnering with them, and then I did Big Alta and Perpetua this year, but then I would love to do Gorge eventually too. So
Yeah, the Gorge 30K has me intrigued. Rose ran the 50K a couple years back, and I got to play a lot on that course. I was like, oh, it's like tricky techie, but like you can rip it. It's
funsies.
Yeah, it's a fun course. I don't know. There's options. I don't know. It's hard to say, like, as far as like, I don't know. 20 miles is also really far. So
it's funny when you say that, because I'm like, that's just getting warmed up. So
it's a far race for me. All right. One thing I do want to talk about before we close it out is the Sky Run, the More Run Skyline race that's going to be taking place this weekend. That is in Northern Ireland. Shout out to teammate Jackson Cole is going to be out there racing. It's a decent group. I mean, so Jackson's going to be out there. There's going to be Jacob Apkin throwing down, Brennan Townsend. Manu Morales is also on the start line for this one. So it's relatively competitive. Iris Pressey on the women's side, Marta Martinez, Robin Vieira, a lot of Spaniards going to be throwing down here, but seems like a beautiful course. Seems extremely technical. First, I think this might be the first of the Ireland sky races that I'm aware of. I know there's been, like Golden Trails had in years past, was it Ring of Steel and others, but this
in Scotland,
seems like a sweet little one. We obviously don't have to do a preview on it, but I just thought it'd be kind of cool to shout out and give some shout outs to the athletes that are going to be throwing down there, because the course looks pretty techy and pretty sick. I mean, those of you who are on follow Merrill Skyrunner World Series on Instagram, definitely check it out. It's called the Marlene Skyrun, like Skyrun, and it's got, or Skyline, and it's got just some sweet sections of the course and looks nasty.
Yeah, they definitely have a good start list, and the Morns are supposed to be pretty technical. I know the guys on Trail Talk about it a lot, and Yeah, it is pretty nuts. I mean, it's very New England-y. Like you can see why they call it New England, because it looks a lot like England and Ireland, and it's just like super rocky, wet boulders, chunky, mossy, and it does look pretty epic. So it is exciting to see. Once again, it's that catch-22, right? It's like more places that they go to in the Skyrunning World Series and more races, which makes it more accessible for like up-and-coming people. But then they also have like an event every other week. But I do think Ireland's a good ad, and I think that is pretty sick. So.
Yeah, 35K, 2,700 meters. It looks nasty. So, yeah. It looks like, I mean, you can, like I said, from the videos, it's like boulders, look very northeast, very nasty. Yeah, super cool stuff. So
nice.
Dan Kurtz should be running this race. This looks like Dan Kurtz kind of stuff.
I know, that's true. That's very true.
All right, that's a good way to end it. Rob, thanks so much for coming on, dude. Looking forward to the next one, and bring so much value to this stuff, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. It's been a blast.
Yeah, man.